It was a warm Saturday afternoon when Alicia Carter, a 32-year-old black woman 7 months pregnant, stepped into the harbor table, a popular restaurant overlooking the docks. Her husband, Captain Ryan Carter, was away on a classified mission with the Navy SEALs. She had come to celebrate a small moment. The baby's first visible kick. She smiled softly, one hand resting on her belly as she waited to be seated. "Table 4-1, please," she said politely. The hostess, a young blonde named Kim, gave her a quick look, not rude, but dismissive. She mumbled, "Sure, just a moment," and walked off without another word. Alicia didn't mind. She'd grown used to small dismissals all her life, but something about today felt different, fragile. She wanted peace, not confrontation. After 10 minutes of waiting while others who came after her were seated, Alicia finally got a table near the window. She sat down, staring out at the gray horizon, imagining Ryan's ship somewhere beyond that water, and whispered, "I hope you're safe, my love." A young waiter with slicked back hair and sharp blue eyes approached her table. His name tag read E. Porter. "What'll it be?" he asked flatly, not meeting her eyes. Alicia smiled kindly. "Could I have a glass of water with lemon, please? And maybe the grilled salmon." He didn't write it down. "We're out of salmon." "Oh, okay," she said softly. "Then I'll take the chicken pasta." He turned on his heel and walked off without acknowledging her. Alicia sighed, feeling the sting of being invisible again. While she waited, 2 women at the next table whispered, "She doesn't look like she belongs here," one said under her breath. Alicia tried to ignore them, resting her hand protectively on her belly. The baby kicked again, as if reassuring her. "It's okay, little one," she whispered. But the whispering continued. A man at the bar, clearly irregular, raised his voice. "Hey, Porter! Didn't know y'all started serving charity cases here." Laughter rippled through the few tables near him. Alicia's throat tightened. She wanted to leave, but her baby needed the nourishment. And she had done nothing wrong. "So c'est jet." Keeping her composure, when the waiter returned, he set down a plate of cold, overcooked pasta. "Here you go," he muttered. Alicia looked up. "Excuse me, sir. I think this might have been sitting for a while. Could you please warm it up?" "I'm sure it's just a mistake." He froze, jaw tightening. Then he leaned closer. "You people always got something to complain about, don't you?" he whispered harshly. Her eyes widened in disbelief. "I beg your pardon." "You heard me," he said louder now. "You come in here acting like you own the place. Maybe try eating somewhere that fits your kind." The restaurant went silent. Forks paused in midair. Alicia felt the air leave her lungs. Her cheeks flushed, but she kept her voice calm. "That's completely uncalled for. I'll be speaking to your manager." The waiter's face twisted into a mocking smile. "Oh yeah, you gonna cry about it?" Then, before anyone could react, he picked up the glass of water on her table and threw it in her face. The shock of the cold water made her gasp. It soaked her dress, her face, and her swollen belly. She stood up instantly, trembling, trying not to slip on the wet floor. Gasps erupted from around the restaurant. Someone shouted, "Hey man, what the hell are you doing?" But no one moved. Alicia's voice broke as she whispered, "I'm pregnant." The waiter sneered, "Then you should have thought twice before coming where you're not wanted." Her heart pounded so fast she thought it might stop. Tears mixed with the water dripping down her chin. You don't know who I am," she said weakly. "I don't need to," he said, stepping closer. "Now get out before I call security at that moment." The restaurant door swung open with a sudden gust of wind, and there he was, Captain Ryan Carter, tall, built, in his dark navy uniform. His face hardened from years of service but softened the second he saw his wife. His duffel bag hit the floor as his eyes locked on her soaked face and trembling hands. "Alicia," she turned, her voice trembling. "Ryan. He was supposed to come home the next day, but his mission had ended early. He had come straight from the base, to surprise her, never expecting this nightmare." He rushed to her, wrapping his arms around her shoulders. "Who did this?" The waiter froze, realizing the insignia on Ryan's uniform. The seal trident, a mark of elite service few ever earn. The entire restaurant went silent. Ryan's voice dropped, calm but deadly. "Did you throw water on my wife?" Porter stammered. "Yes, sir." It was she was being loud. Ryan's expression didn't change. She was sitting alone, pregnant. How exactly was she loud? The manager, who had been hiding behind the counter, rushed over. "Captain Carter, primera adenoidea, sir. Please, let's talk about this." Ryan's voice thundered, shaking the small diner. "Talk. My wife, a pregnant black woman, was assaulted in your restaurant because of her skin color. Do you understand what that means?" Alicia gripped his hand, her tears falling silently. "Ryan, please, I just want to go home." He looked at her, softening instantly. "You shouldn't have to walk out humiliated from anywhere. Not you. Not ever." He turned back to the room, voice shaking with restrained fury. "Every one of you who watched and said nothing should be ashamed." The man at the bar looked away. The whispering women lowered their heads. The manager tried to speak. "We'll fire him, sir." But Ryan cut him off. "You don't need to. You'll be hearing from the Department of Defense's Ethics Board. You're right across from a naval base, and you think it's okay to treat a sailor's family like dirt. I'll make sure every service member knows what happened here." The waiter's knees buckled. "Please, sir." I didn't know she was." Ryan's eyes flashed. "You didn't have to know who she was. You just had to know she was a human being." Alicia's breathing grew uneven. She suddenly clutched her belly and winced. "Ryan, the baby?" He immediately caught her. "Call Novocentis." "Yonzi," he roared. The whole restaurant erupted into motion. Minutes later, paramedics arrived. Ryan never left her side as they loaded her into the ambulance. Her hands clutched his uniform tightly, afraid to let go. At the hospital, hours passed in a blur of sterile lights and soft beeping monitors. Alicia was stable, but the stress had caused contractions to start early. The doctors managed to stop them, but she'd need monitoring for a few days. When she woke, Ryan was sitting beside her, his uniform jacket draped over her blanket. His head was bowed in exhaustion, eyes red. She touched his hand gently. "Hey, soldier." He looked up and smiled faintly. "Hey, my love. You scared me. You scared me," she whispered back. "You came home early." "I wanted to surprise you," he said softly. "Didn't expect to walk into that." Alicia's eyes filled again. "It's not the first time I've been treated like that, but this time, I just felt so small." Ryan reached over, placing her hand over his heart. "You're not small, Alicia. You're the strongest black woman I know. You face more with grace than most men do with guns." She smiled weakly. "Our little one's strong too, kicked the whole time." He laughed through the pain. Already a fighter. They sat in silence, holding hands, while outside, the night thickened over the base lights. Days later, news spread fast. Someone had filmed the entire incident on their phone. The clip went viral. Pregnant black woman assaulted by waiter, SEAL captain's wife. Porter, the waiter, was fired immediately and later arrested for assault. The owner issued a public apology, but Ryan didn't care for words anymore. When a local journalist asked him for a statement, he said, "This isn't just about my wife. It is about every person who has been made to feel less because of the color of their skin. My wife wears no uniform, but she's part of my service, and when you disrespect her, you disrespect the uniform, too." Alicia watched the interview from home, her eyes brimming. She had never seen him so resolute, so protective.